Welcome back, students. Welcome to Priya's Lifescience Academy. This is your educator Priya. Today I'll continue the lecture with the rest of the part of population characteristics. This lecture will be beneficial for those who are preparing for CSIR NET Life Science, those who are in bachelor's and master's degree, and also for the UPSC students for their environment and ecology portion. So pay attention and listen carefully. So we read three characteristics of population, that is population size, population density, population dispersion. Now we will see that what is demography. What is demography? The statistical study of populations allows predictions to be made about how a population will change in future. Okay, it's a measurement that with time how the population will change. Okay, like for example 20 individuals are there in the initial position. After 10 years, how many individuals will leave? What will be their future states? How many individuals will reproduce to give birth to the young ones? What will be their state? How many will die early? How many will die in late time? So these are all the things when put together in a statistical manner. That study or that prediction of a population about the population is known as demography. Now, what is life table? The very important one, life tables. What are life tables? So a life table is an age-specific summary of the survival pattern of a population. So very simply, it's a age-specific summary of a population. Like I'll show you the picture, like how many individuals are there at which age group, how many individuals are present. Okay, so this type of summary when put together in the form of a table is known as a life table. Information on natality, mortality. I hope you understood what is natality. Natality is birth rate, mortality is the death rate, and different ages and sexes, that is gender, male or female, can be combined in the form of life tables. So all this information can be combined in a life table where you can see that at which age group, suppose from the age group of 0 to 10, in this age group the 20 individuals are there. Then from 10 to 20, this age group 24 individuals are there. So likewise, you know all the information about the population in the form of a life table. Now, what is the utility of these tables? From these, it is possible to estimate the growth or decline of a population. This is very important. Okay, in scientific area, if you study life table, you can actually say that in how many years the population will decline. This study is very much essential for the study of the extinction. This is how the scientists can understand that which year the population will go extinct, and then they can take the preventive measure that how to maintain the population, otherwise it will go extinct. So from the life table you can know about the growth and the decline of a population. In this, each table possesses different columns for age of individuals, number surviving to age group, the number dying in each age group, and the proportion dying from the previous age category, their fertility rate, how they can give birth to the young ones, and the number of young born by each age group. So all these informations are given. The best way to construct a life table is to follow the fate of a cohort. Now, how can you make a life table? The best way to construct a life table is to follow the fate of a cohort. What is a cohort? A cohort is a group of individuals from the same age. Okay, so a group of individuals of the same age from birth throughout their lifetime until they are dead. If you follow one cohort, you can actually understand life table more nicely. To build a life table, we need to determine the number of individuals that die each age group and calculate the proportion of the cohort surviving from one age to the next. Like from one age group, how many, for suppose the previous age group 24 individuals are there, and in the next age group there are only 14 individuals, so 10 individuals died. So this type of information you can get. The information obtained from these figures provides the net reproductive rate. Okay, that is very, very important, which we want to take out. Net reproductive rate of the population, that is offspring left by each individual. What is net reproductive rate? Net reproductive rate is the offspring those are produced by each individual. Okay. Similarly, life tables also provide the information regarding mortality in a logarithmic form, like how many individuals can die. These are then used to calculate the rate of population growth. So why these things are there? What's the necessity of life table? Is it just to summarize the scenario of a population? No. This life table is very much essential and beneficial for calculation of the growth or decline of a population. If we know that this population will go extinct in near future, then we can take preventive measure against it. Okay. Now you can see here, this is a life table for beaver, Castor canadensis in Newfoundland, Canada, where you can see that the age class of 0 to 1, number alive at the start year. This is the initial number. So this is the number alive during the start of the year, and this is the number dying during the following year. Now, if you conduct this individuals from this, you can get this. Now again, from 0 to 1, these individuals are there. Now after the end of that year, these individuals died. Now if you minus 1700, if you minus 684 from 1700, you will get 1016. Okay, so by this way you can calculate and you can see. So this is a life table. This is the column, this is the age class column, like the age group, and number alive at the start of the year, number dead at the following year, and how many individuals are left. Okay, so at last you could see that 22 individuals left at the age group of 14 plus. So 14 plus means 14 to 15, and after that, so they studied from 0 to 14 age class. Okay, so and they got that at last 22 individuals were left at the age of 14 to continue their life in the population. And you know, like in the mid 19th century, these beaver group were trapped and hunted, and their population was going to be extinct. But at the 20th century, their population was saved. I hope you understood and how the data came into this scenario. Like people collected the mandibles of these beaver, because like for example, for 1-year-old beaver, their teeth were extracted. Okay, so after the hunting, their mandible was taken out and the teeth were extracted. So like if we get the 1-year-old beaver teeth more than the 2 years old beaver teeth, then we can say that the 1-year-old is at high risk of hunting. So from this mandible data, we got the table. Here I told you that X is denoted as the age class, NX, where N is the number and X is the beginning of that particular year. Then what you can see, you can also tell number died, and DX is equal to, DX is the number dying. You can take out DX very easily if you subtract NX from the number alive at the start of the previous year, then you can take out number dying. For example, here NX is like, NX means at the beginning of the 6th year, you can see 273 individuals were alive. Okay, and at the beginning of the 7th year, 205 individuals were there. So how many individuals died? 273 minus 205, it results into 68. Okay, so by this also you can take out that number dying on that year. So at the start of the 6th year, 273 individuals were there, and the start of the 7th year, 205 were there, so number missing 68. So this is the life table of a beaver. Now coming to the static life table of a tall mountain sheep, which is based on the known age at a death of 608 ships, okay, dying before 1937. Please pay attention and listen to this very carefully, where you can see X equal to the age class, okay, here number alive at each age class, that is nx, number dying, where I told you dx, nx minus nx plus 1, then proportion surviving, which is Lx equal to nx by n0, mortality rate equal to Qx equal to dx by dn, average number alive in each age class, which is Lx equal to nx plus 1 divided by 2, total years lived, which is Tx equal to summation of Lx, life expectancy Ex equal to Dx divided by Nx. So you can see by this table you can get so many parameters like proportion surviving, mortality rate, okay, average number alive at each age class, total years lived, and the life expectancy, which we need. If we understand the life expectancy of a given age class, then we can understand their growth pattern very easily. This data was collected by Adolphe Murray. He collected 608 skulls, but Edward Dewey made it 1000 for the better comparison with other dataset. You can see here at the age group of 0 to 1,000 individuals were there initially. Dewey calculated several other statistical parameters from Murray's data. First, he was interested in survivorship. He took out the mortality rate in the each age group class. Here you can see the mortality rate was taken out for each age group, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and rest 13 to 14. Third, then he calculated the life expectancy at each age group. So you can see the table very clearly that at initial 1000 individuals were there at 0 to 1 age group, then at 1 to 2 age group 801 were left. So how many died? 1000 minus 801, you could get 199. Here you know that how to take out the number dying. Dx equal to nx minus nx plus 1, I showed you in the previous slide. So by this way you can say you can know number dying. Then proportion surviving, which is very important here. Proportion surviving is also known as survivorship. Okay, now proportion surviving or survivorship is very important. How to take out this? It is Lx equal to nx by n0. What is nx by n0? X is that number of individuals alive in a age class divided by the number in the original cohort. Okay, now for example, let's take out the survivorship of this class 5 to 6th age group. So how will you take out nx divided by n0? Nx, I said you, x is equal to that number of individuals in a particular age class, that is 734. Okay, 734 divided by n0. N0, what I said, that number of individuals in the original cohort. What is the number of individuals in the original cohort? Which is 1000. So 734 divided by 1000, which gives you 0.734. Isn't it? When 734 divided by 1000, you got 0.734. So this is how you can take out the proportion surviving or survivorship. Likewise, if you want to take out the survivorship of 6th to 7th year, then also 688 divided by 1000, you can get 0.688. Okay, so by this way, Lx, which is proportion surviving or survivorship, can be taken out. Now, if you want to take out the mortality rate, it is denoted as Qx. Mortality rate is denoted as Qx. So Qx is equal to dx divided by nx. Dx, you know, dx means number of dying. Yes, you know, dx means number of dying, and nx means number of surviving or number alive. So if you want to take out the mortality rate of the age group 5 to 6, what will you do? What is the dx? Dx equal to 46. So 46 divided by nx. Nx was 734. So 746 divided by 734. What will you get? you will get the mortality rate 0.063. Okay, so this is how you can also take out mortality rate for each age group. So for each age group you can take out number dying, number surviving, which is survivorship, or you can also take out the mortality rate for each age group. So this mortality pattern, if you see their pattern, you can notice by seeing the mortality rate, you can see is mortality increasing with age, or it is decreasing with age, or it is static. In this example, the QX, the mortality rate, you can see is high in the first age class, meaning a lot of young sheep dies. Okay, so here you can see that at the first age class the mortality was higher, then it is dropped. Here you can see it is dropped till 8, it is okay, dropped. Then again after 8 it got increased, the mortality rate increased. So you can notice that mortality rate was very high in the young, then it is dropped, then up to 8 age class, then again it has increased. So what you noted from this life table, you could note that the young individuals and the old individuals have the high mortality rate. The youngs and the olds have high mortality rate. Okay, another parameter Edward TV calculated, which is life expectancy, which is EX equal to TX divided by TN. What it is, the average number of additional age classes an individual can expect to live. Okay, and for each age class you can see the life expectancy pattern. Okay, so here you can see like for which age class the individual tends to live for how many additional year, that is like life expectancy for a particular age group. Okay, and this calculation takes into measure of two intermediate steps. First, the average number alive in each age class, which is LX. You need to take out LX and you need to take out the total years lived TX. Then by taking these two, you can just do the EX, which is life expectancy. So how to take out the LX? LX equal to NX. NX is the NX equal to average number of individuals alive at the beginning of each age group, which is NX, and NX plus 1 is the number alive at the beginning of the next age class. So NX plus 1 divided by 2. You can take out each of the age classes average alive for each age class by dividing NX plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, for example, so if you want to take out the LX for this age group 5 to 6, what will you do? Your NX is 734 plus NX plus 1 is 688. So 734 plus 688 divided by 2. So what will you get? You will get 711. So by this way you can take out average number alive for each age class. Now how to take out the TX? TX can be taken out by the summation of all the LX. Like if you have to take out the TX of the group 5 or 6, you have to take the LX of this class and all of the older classes. So for example, if we want to take out the TX of 516 group, you have to start from 711 till the last. Then what you get 3062. So for taking out the TX, you have to take that age classes LX, then all the older classes after them. So 701 plus 664, okay, which will give you 3062. Now you can take out life expectancy ES very easily, which is TX by NX. So what is your TX for group 5 and 6? Your TX for group 5 and 6 is 3062 divided by the NX. Your NX is 734, which is 4.2. Here it is. So you took out the life expectancy for 5 to 6 age class. Here you can see these for this age class you took the life expectancy. Likewise, you can take out life expectancy of these also, where the TX is 7053 and divided by 1000. So what does that mean? If you take out the age group of 5 to 6 years age group, the life expectancy is 4.2. That means at the age of 5, this sheep can live for another 4.2 years. Okay, so the sheep can live for another 4.2 years at the age of 5. For that particular sheep, you can tell that the sheep can live up to 4.2 years more. Okay, this is the way you can take out the life expectancy. So as a whole, from this calculation, there are multiple measurements can be quantified and multiple things can be understood for a population. You can see that at which age group the mortality rate is very high, at which age group the life expectancy is high, how does survivorship change with age, what is the life expectancy of the individuals in the population. So I hope you understood this static life table and how the important parameters are taken out and how you can know about the population from this life table. So for each age group, you can say about their mortality rate, you can say about their average life in the age class, you can know about total years lived, and you can know about their life expectancy. Okay, so here you know that how to take out the LX, you know how to take out the QX. Now this table is very much important, which state about life table and age specific fertility rates. Okay, here again age class, the same data, and we want to take out the net reproductive rate here. Okay, the same data, just here is one more parameter we need to take out, which is net reproductive rate. Here age class X, here number of alive, that is NX at the beginning of each year, number of dying DX, proportion alive, which is LX, I told you, which is LX equal to NX divided by N0, which is proportion surviving or survivorship. So LX equal to NX by N0. Then age specific fertility, this is one new parameter you need to know. This is in age specific fertility, and age specific fertility is known as MX. Then average number of offspring per age class, which is LX MX, the calculation, the multiplication of LX MX is average number of offspring per age class. Now to know how the population grows, for that we need to know the information of birth rate, their death rate. Okay, for any age class we can take out the proportion of female offspring born to the females of any reproductive age. For example, if 100 females give rise to 75 female offspring, then the fertility rate will be 75 divided by 100 is equal to 0.75. So 100 female gave rise to or gave birth to 75 female offspring, because you know the fertility rate will depend on the female, so the fertility rate will be 75 divided by 100 is equal to 0.75. Okay, so which is the age specific fertility rate, which is MX, denoted as MX, and for this it is 0.75. I'm giving you a very easy example, and that means on an average a female at any age class can produce 0.75 female offspring in that year. By this we can take out the growth rate of a population. Now let's back into this beaver example. So for each age class you can see here number of alive, number of dying, proportion alive, which is LX equal to NX by N0. Now its specific fertility rate MX. Here if you take out the proportion alive or survivorship of age this 5 to 6, you can see LX equal to NX divided by N0. Here NX is 273 and N0 is equal to 6395, which gives you 0.074, which is 7.4%. If you converted into percentage, which is 7.4%. So you can see that what does that mean? Like 7.4% of the original beaver class survived till at the age of 6. Okay, so this much have survived at the age of 6. And here the specific fertility is given, which is mx, and when we sum up this together with LX mx, we got the net reproductive rate. Okay, the average number of female offspring produced by all the females in the population over the course of a generation where constitutes the reproductive life of a female. So the net reproductive rate is equal to R0, denoted by R0, summation of LX mx. LX, you know that age specific survivorship, and mx is the age specific fertility, and if you multiply them and just plus them, you can take out the net reproductive rate, which is sum of all ages. Here when we calculate, you did LX mx, here you multiplied with LX and mx, and when you that's the sum all the LX mx, you got this answer. Okay, so this is the net reproductive rate of a population. Now why R0 is important? R denotes the population growth rate. If R0 is greater than 1, that means the population is growing. If R0 is less than 1, then the population is declining. And if the R0 is equal to 1, then the population is in equilibrium. Okay. Here you can see, in determining population growth, much depends on the value of R0. If R0 is greater than 1, then the population will grow. If R0 is less than 1, the population is in decline. If R0 is equal to 1, then the population size stays the same, and we say that it is at equilibrium. So by this table, by the fertility table, you can actually take out the net reproductive rate, and by net reproductive rate, what can you gain? You can gain either the population growing, either the population is decreasing, or the population is staying in a static mode. Okay. Now, how to calculate the future population size? If NT is this population size and NT plus 1 is the future population size, you just have to multiply the NT with R0, with the net reproductive rate. Okay, so we simply multiply the number of females in the population by the net reproductive rate. So if you want to know the future size of a population, you have to multiply the number of female into the net reproductive rate. Thus the population size in the next generation, which is NT plus 1, this is generation. So NT is one generation. Generation means the age class. Okay, and NT plus 1 is the next generation. What we did like that, like we did the age class of 1 and 2, then the age class of 2 and 3, then the age class of 3 and 4, likewise after one generation. NT plus 1 is determined with the number of population now at time t, age group of 5 to 6, and NT plus 1 is the age group of 6 to 7. Okay. Let's consider the theoretical example in which the number of beavers alive is now NT is equal to 1000 and R0 is 1.1. Okay, so this means that the beaver population is reproducing at a rate which is 10% greater than simply replacing itself. So the size of the next population generation is NT plus 1 equal to NT into N0. So NT, I told you, 1000 and R0 is 1.1. So the future population size is 1100. So thus the number of beavers in the next generation is 1100 and the population will have grown larger. Okay, so this is how you can take out the number of future population. Now the next question is, how long is a beaver generation? So generation time often denotes as capital T. So what does it mean? The average time for a female organism to grow from a fertilized egg and then produce more fertilized eggs. When the average time a female organism is grown from an egg and when she is capable of producing fertilized eggs, that is known as the generation time. We can calculate our capital T from the table by multiplying LX mx into x. Here you can see x is multiplied with LX mx. Okay, x is the age in years. So these LX mx, here is the LX mx column and here is the nx column. You can multiply that. Then you have to sum the column, which is the total summation, which is 4.368, and then you can divide it by R0. So here you can see, after summing up the column 4.368 and divided by the R0. R0 was 0.938. Here you can see the R0 was 0.938. Then you can know the generation time. So the average generation time for beaver is about 4.6 years. Okay, so the generation time is 4.6 years, and generally generation time increases as organismal size increases. Like larger animals need more generational time. Okay, so I hope you understand the life table and the cohort table, the fertility rate, the specific fertility rate, and why the tables are important. These tables are important to take out the certain parameters like the generational time, the life expectancy, the net reproductive rate. By this you can understand the rate of growth of the population, either the population is growing or it is decreasing, or is it in static manner. Okay, now survivorship curve. Now what you read in the life table, if you present them in a graphical way, that is known as survivorship curve. Okay, so a graphic way of representing the data in a life table is a survivorship curve. I hope you understood. And these survivorship curves represent 8 specific patterns of death, which is mortality, for a given population in a given environment, or it plots the number of surviving individuals for particular age. So it's a age specific growth, their death, their mortality, their natality, everything is presented in a form of a graph. Now you can see here there are 2 graphic representation of life table. Here you can see it is the age, and here number of individuals surviving. You can see somewhat very straight line. Okay, so straight line represents that the mortality rate is somewhat constant rate, and you can see here that females are more, the survival rate of females are more than males, and this is very much important, the generalized strategy. Here there are 3 types of survivorship curves, type 1, type 2 and type 3. Okay, and what do they reveal? From this type 1 you can see that high death rate is post-reproductive years. In the post-reproductive year high death rate, that's why the graph somewhat goes down. For type 2 you can see constant mortality rate throughout lifespan. There's a constant line, there's no bend of the line. And for type 3, here you can see that in early life there was much mortality, but when you age, when late life, your mortality rate decreases. Now let's understand this very clearly. So survivorship curves, there are 3 types of survivorship curve. For human, you have to know, for human, type 1 survivorship curve. Okay, so what the type 1 survivorship curve denotes? For type 1 curve, the rate of loss for juveniles or the young individuals is very low, but when the individuals age, the rate of mortality increased accordingly due to sickness or due to predators attack. Okay, organisms which exhibit type 1 pattern have relatively few offspring, but they denote much time and effort for rearing their young. For example, humans, like when we are too young, our parents give us much care so that we survive. Okay, and the parents give us much care, that's why in the juvenile stage our mortality rate is very low and it is quite high, but when we age our mortality rates become high, like our survival becomes very low. But at the young age our survival is very high because we get lot of attention and care, but as we age our survivorship goes down. So this type of curve is a shallow curve where individuals who are young, they have the much higher reproductive rate, and when they age, their reproductive rate, their fecundity decreases and they goes to mortality. Humans and most of the higher organisms, mammals, show this type of pattern. There is another point of survivorship curve, which is the organismal care. I told you that for our humans we get a lot of care, that's why we tend to live during our childhood. But for type 3 curve, for these organisms, the childhood care is very less. Like they produce a large number of progeny. Okay, so the animals which produce a large number of cheap progeny and which displays minimal decline in fecundity with age, if they survive their youth, is described as type 3 curve. In type 3 curve, the rate of loss in the juvenile stage or early stage is very high. You can see the survival rate is very low in the juvenile stage. That means that they are not getting care because there is a lot number of progeny. Care is not given to them, and there is a much higher death rate in early life. Okay, for example, many fish and marine invertebrates fit into this pattern. Most of the juveniles die or are eaten, but a few can get the favorable habitat. Those can thrive. For example, many juvenile barnacles lost at sea, but when they find a preferable, suitable anchor, they can live for a long. So at early stage, their mortality rate is very high, their survivorship is very low, but once they cross that situation, those individuals can live nicely. Many insects and plants also fit into this pattern because they lay many eggs and hundreds of seeds respectively, and most of these die. And other more examples are sea turtle, pelagic fish, oyster, trees. Okay, so this is the type 3 curve where the life expectancy is very low at the beginning, but those who can survive, they can live long. Now type 2. Here you can see the straight line for type 2. What you can understand? You can understand there's a constant mortality pattern or constant survivorship, a fairly uniform death rate over time. The species include some birds, small mammals, reptiles, some annual plants. The individuals in population which display type 2 curve, they either do not even age or are born as fully matured individuals. Example, hydra. Individuals are lost in these populations mostly of accidents and predation. Other examples include butterfly, mice, rabbit, and most of the holometabolous insects. So in this group, they have a uniform survivorship, okay? Uniform death rate. Last but not the least, keep in mind that these survivorship curves are generalized curves fitted for few individuals, okay? Fitted for few populations. Not all the population exactly fit into these three patterns, type 1, type 2, and type 3. Humans impact lots of other populations which they harvest on, like if they take, because humans are, like for example, humans are dependent on chicken, mutton, and these type of animals. So which age group they prefer, depending on that, their survivorship will change. So humans can impact the survival pattern of any species. Okay, so the generalized pattern is type 1, which is for human. The early age is low mortality, good survival for early age, but as they age, their mortality is higher. Type 3 is low survival rate at young, high mortality at young, and when they survive, their survivorship is good. And for type 2, the uniform mortality pattern for all the age class. Okay, I hope you understood, students. If you have any questions related to this lecture, you can comment below and ask. I'll be very happy to give you reply. And as I always say, fight for your dreams will fight for you. Thank you.